This is episode 5 of Things I Hear on the Misophonia Without Borders channel. I'm John, but you can call me Smooter. I'm just a guy with misophonia, and I'm here to talk about it. Yes, the Misophonia Association announced the name of the celebrity guest at the Misophonia convention this year, finally. And I followed up with my own announcement in one of the quick talks videos that probably would have turned out better if I hadn't recorded it at 1 a.m. or whatever time it was on a Tuesday night. Anyway, we'll talk more about that later. Disclaimer time. I'll do my best to not make any triggering noises or gestures, and for those of you who trigger when you hear trigger descriptions, Doug will place this trigger description alert sign up over my head a few seconds ahead of time so that you can mute me if you need to. When the sign disappears, the trigger description is over, and you can unmute me. And don't forget that the Misophonia Without Borders channel, this show, and I do not claim to make any, only get one shot this time. Sorry, I got to stutter on the camera. Don't forget that the Misophonia Without Borders channel, this show, and I do not make any claim to have a cure for misophonia, nor do we offer any type of medical treatment for misophonia or any other medical condition. And Doug, people are still asking me about you. What's up with that, man? Huh? And I think one of my ex-girlfriends has a crush on you. Yeah, not bad for a guy nobody sees. That's all I'm going to say about that. Hater, buy me a pizza then. Okay, episode 5. Just a quick word of caution before the episode continues. There's a lot of trigger descriptions ahead. We'll keep the sign up. They're not going to be terribly detailed, but I just wanted to put that out there for those of you that have a problem with it. I purposely do not enable closed captioning, at least not at this time, in case even reading about triggers is a problem for some people. But if you think that that will help you to follow the episode and won't cause a problem for you, and you have the option to turn on the closed captions on your side, feel free. So we focused on the gum thing enough in the last episode. I'm sure it's going to come up again because it's one of the major triggers, but let's move on for now and talk about some other things. So talk a little bit about Miso Guilt. I did a quick chat on that, or a quick talk on, I don't even know what I'm calling my own stuff, a quick talk on that a while back. The Miso Guilt thing, part of it is doing things that would trigger you if someone else did them, but you don't trigger yourself, unless you, unfortunately, are one of those people who self-triggers regularly. But a good example of that is beating on a table. I'm a terrible drummer anytime I get behind a drum set, but I always said that I'd be a great drummer if I could just play finger drums, because I could, wrap my fingers or beat on a table with my hands, maybe get my feet into it a little bit, and it, at least to me, sounds like I know what I'm doing, right? But behind a real drum set, no, I suck at it. So I quit trying years ago. But if someone else is doing the exact same thing, wrapping their fingers, beating on a table, it's a trigger for me. And it has been for at least since my 20s, even though I didn't know what to call it at the time. There's a guy at work that used to beat on his desk all the time because he claimed to be a drummer as a hobby. And it didn't matter if he was good at it or not. It was painful for me. And yet I can do the same thing and it doesn't bother me. Miso Guilt, right? Because if I do something like that, I know I couldn't let my wife do it around me. And then another good example is, and this is a pretty big trigger for a lot of people, leg shaking. So, some people are visually triggered by leg shaking. I think it even relates to another one of the other conditions that the name escapes me right now, but some people with misophonia also have that condition that I can't remember the name of. But I am a leg shaker, and I have been since I was a teenager. It actually helps me fall asleep, and sometimes it's just something I do because it's comforting. And if I know that someone is in the room with me who's triggered by that, I will try very hard not to do that because I don't want to trigger someone else if I can help it. So I try to be sensitive to that. So thank God no one in my family has misophonia or the other condition anyway. So no one's triggered when I shake my leg at home. But that's not something that I would be doing at the Misophonia convention, at least consciously. If you see me shaking my leg at the convention, let me know, because maybe it doesn't trigger you, but I might trigger someone else to be doing them a favor. Another thing is that I want to talk about today is that I love television and movies. I mean, to me, that if I have a hobby, I guess that's it. I don't consider myself a couch potato. I'm really into the entertainment of it all. And I used to love to go to the movie theater, and I would go by myself. I enjoyed just being in the theater. I liked the smell of the popcorn. I liked eating the popcorn. Actually, I loved eating the snacks, but I liked the whole environment. And sometimes I would go to a movie that I knew, or at least I thought was going to suck. Because I'd seen all the good ones already, but I still wanted to go to the movies. So I would go see something that I didn't really have a lot of faith in. And there were a few that turned out way better than I thought anyway. So that was a good thing. And then there was a couple of stinkers, but I used to go. But I would get triggered even back in the day by people eating their snacks too loud. Um, I would stuff napkins in my ears. I don't know why it never occurred to me to get earplugs until the Misophonia convention when Paul Tabachnik, he introduced me to the musicians' earplugs. And I'm like, how is it I've been stuffing napkin pieces in my ears for years and never even thought to just buy a pair of earplugs? So I have a lot of earplugs now. Thank you, Paul. And if you go to the movies now, and I forget who told me this. That might have been Paul also. So thank you again if it was you. That they will give you the assisted listening devices, those headphones, if they have them, which I think most theaters do. And they're designed for the hearing impaired, and there's two kinds. There's one where it amplifies the sound, and there's another one where it describes the movie. I guess that's for the people that are visually impaired, so it can tell them what's going on in the movie if they can't see it very clearly or at all. And make sure you get the right ones if you want to try this out. But they give them to you, no questions asked. That's true. I've done it. And thank God I hardly ever use them, but I always get them and have them with me now just in case. I think I've used them maybe twice in an actual movie. The one thing you sacrifice when you get those, and it may not matter to you, but one thing you might sacrifice is if you're in a theater, in particular with like THX or Dolby Sound, because you like that good sound quality. I know I do. Um, the headphones are not that high quality. They'll be in stereo, but you're not going to get that boom that you like from those big sound systems. But if that's the way to shut out trigger and enjoy the movie, it's totally worth it to me. Um, Speaking of movies and misophonia, this is actually kind of a good story. So part of my ritual now when I go to the movies, and I haven't done it since COVID, but I used to do this. I would only go to blockbusters because I can watch a comedy at home. I've got a fine entertainment system. I don't need to, go watch a Steve Martin movie in a movie theater, but I can watch it on streaming. On the other hand, if we're talking about, Harrison Ford, yeah, maybe I need to go to a theater for something like that, or, Star Trek, of course. And when I go, I like to go on a Friday. I'll take a Friday off usually in the first 2 weeks because I want to see it while it's still in the good theater, but I want to see it when a lot of people have already seen it. Opening day is usually the biggest day, and I will go to the first show of the day. Now, that doesn't guarantee me that there won't be people there. Sometimes there's a lot of people there, but not a full theater usually. And before that, I will stop off at the particular theater I go to. I stop off at a sports bar downstairs and hang out for a little while and have a few beers, which some of you know that can actually help with triggers too. And it can also make the movie a little more fun, but I'm not saying anyone should drink. I'm just telling you, I have a good time for a little before I go and enjoy the movie. But I missed the first half hour of Terminator, the last Terminator movie. It was what was it called? I forget, but it was the one where they got Linda Hamilton back in. So anyway, I missed the first half hour Terminator because I was in this little sports pub in the mall, and I met a man who told me he was a fairly high-ranking naval officer, and I've got no reason to doubt him, but he wasn't in uniform. He was in a civilian clothes, so I had to kind of take him on his word. And we had a good conversation going, and I had just started one of the Misophonia support groups, and I can't remember which one because I actually started both of them within a year of each other. But there's the Western and Pacific Misophonia support group, which the name speaks for itself. It's a localized group, and the area he lives in would be under that group. And the other one was Misophonia Without Borders, where this channel gets its name from. That was actually when I started second. But this naval officer did not have misophonia, but somehow we got into the discussion about it, and he believes his wife has it. And so I suggested whichever group it was I just opened at the time. Maybe it was both of them if I'd opened both of them by then. And I don't know if she ever joined, but he was going to supposedly suggest it to her that she might have misophonia. She should check the group out and try to learn about it if that's the case. So maybe she's a member. Maybe she's watching this. Maybe not. I'll probably never know. Okay, so the 2023 Misophonia Convention, that's going to happen, and it's going to be great. November 2nd through 4th at the Embassy Suites in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where lots of folks are apparently into hot air ballooning, and Hollywood filmed a little show called Breaking Bad. It's been floating for a while that there's going to be a special celebrity guest. We've had to keep that under wraps for a while, but finally this week, the Misophonia Association was able to unmask that special guest. It's going to be ready. If you don't know already, it's not going to be Chuck Norris. It will be Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter Lisa Loeb. That's right. Many of you know her for her 1994 hit "Stay," and then in parentheses, "I Missed You." For those of you who might not know the song, I would hum a few bars, but I don't want to see all the comments about how my horrible singing voice triggered anybody. And I don't know, I might be violating a copyright law if I do that. But I'm sure most of you know who she is, and she's going to be there. And why is she going to be there? Because she has misophonia. That's why. And she wants to support the cause and support the misophonia community. So she's joining the family, so to speak. And actually, she already did join the family when she talked about it with Adil Ahmad on the Misophonia podcast earlier this year. I'll put a link to that in the details, and you can listen to that and hear her talk about misophonia. So that's the celebrity news. We are looking forward to it. I know that other celebrities have um, stated publicly that they have misophonia. I won't name any right now, but I might later. But you can Google them anyway. But to my knowledge, as in I have the right to be, I reserve the right to be wrong. Boy, I'm stuttering a lot today. To the best of my knowledge, she's the only one so far who's actually engaged the misophonia community. And I'm hoping that others will follow suit. So we're glad to have her at the convention. And again, you can attend in person, but there's also an online attendance option if you'd rather attend virtually, or if you can't make it to Albuquerque, you can watch it from your device at home. And Doug, I'm sorry it's not Chuck Norris, but you probably would have gotten on his bad side and got a beat down anyway. So well, just be nice to Lisa Loeb, okay? Because she's a nice person and could probably kick your. You know what? Shut up, Doug. Links to the convention and registration are in the video details below. Thanks for tuning in to Things I Hear, Episode 5. Please support us and support the cause of misophonia awareness by liking this video, subscribing to the Misophonia Without Borders channel, and tell a friend because Doug wants you to. Bye-bye now.